It is the Fantasy Golf Degenerates show, friends and family. We are rocking and rolling for the the WWT Championship this week. And as always, we've got my good friend, Kenny Kim, on the other side of the screen. Kenny, what the hell's going on today?
What is up, man? I like how we are switching things up a little bit today. Seeing how Byron could take the hosting duties. And, speaking of I'm sort of pissed off. Virginia outlawed up. It took me a while to try and find some other free shit, but I found it. We're good to go. But yeah, looking forward to this week. I want to see, really excited to see how you run the show. Let's see how this goes.
Hey, baby, and running the show, you got to run the show over at Underdog.com. Fantasy over there. Go use code Mayo for up to $1,000 deposit bonus because, the good old people at Underdog sponsor this show and the Mayo Media Network. While you're at it, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button for Mayo Media. We would really appreciate that. And let's get into it, Kenny. We've got a fun week in Mexico, baby. I got the sombrero. This isn't a Jets hat. This is the sombrero for Mexico. And it's going to be a fun week. But before we get there, I want to chat about what happened 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, pretty impressive. Nico Echeverria, right? Is that how you pronounce his name? His second win. I have a problem with the PGA Tour. Not shocking. We have two rookies this year that have won twice in a calendar year.
Yep.
Nobody knows who they are. Still. Nobody knows who they are. Now, I get it. They weren't big-time events. They weren't, one was at, what was it, the Amex? It's not like tiny, right? I mean, that's, it's not like a small event for Dunlop. But having two young guys like this win, especially one that's not American, that's from a Latin American country, and we've lost a lot of that Latin American blood, that South American blood to live, right? And to not, I know it's the fall, but I mean, pump it up a little bit, show me something, even on your social media, make a big deal out of it, do something, write an article, I don't know, something, right? Because the problem, everyone says, the big argument for everyone that's pro-PGA when it comes to the Live PGA debate is that the PGA will grow its stars. Okay? I mean, the only star that I think they've grown in the time is Oberg, right?
Yes.
Oberg's the guy, and he's the one guy they brought off where, the semi-casual type person might have actually heard who he is, right? Yeah. But you got two guys here who have won multiple events in the same year in their rookie year. Doesn't happen ever. They need to start promoting these guys. They need to make sure these guys get into the signature events next year. I don't know. Are they? I mean, Echeverria is not, right? I think Dunlop is, but Echeverria is not. You got to promote these guys. Echeverria is someone you have to promote. Right, with the loss, because that's the problem. You say that they're going to grow these stars. Well, the stars are here, and PGA's doing nothing to grow.
Amen, baby.
It was a really, really impressive showing by him. It was not it was the best field of the fall so far. Xander was in it. Big names were in it. He took them all down.
Look, he didn't really have to beat them though. Because they all beat themselves.
Yes.
Unfortunately. But
yes,
it was a good field still. He still had to take down JT, who, by the way, he just can't seem to win a golf tournament, man. He's back, but he just is like,
it'll come.
It will, maybe. He's been flirting with it, but you just got to roll one of those putts in, dude. It just didn't ever come to fruition for him. And that's typically been his biggest bugaboo, right? Is the putter. It just could not get it going.
Yeah.
And what about Xander, Kenny? I bet him minus 200 for a fucking top 20, top 10. And then I'm just watching him just take a swing at a golf ball in a rabbit hole and then take another swing and not move it and then finally drop it. He took a quad and that was that. He just has never played well yet.
He finished 11th, right? Didn't he finish top 20? It's been a couple of weeks.
No, he did not finish inside the top 10. I am very certain of that.
No, the top 20.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. But the only President's Cupper, I think there were 7 in the field, Kenny. Siwoo Kim, the only guy to finish inside the top 10 this at the Zozo.
Yeah.
And you said it last week.
What did I say?
I believe you said that you fading the President's Cup guys because the mojo is going to be like this. It airs out the balloon. And I was like, fuck that. We're going to go to these guys because they're balling.
You would expect so. I mean, I knew it was just a lucky narrative. I mean, it worked out for me. I had a decent week. Cash, I won in all but the 100 single entry. I won the 50. I won the 25. I won the 10s. And I didn't win the 100. So I just broke. I won like a little bit of money in cash. That's it. Instead of, doubling up like I should have, which was definitely fucking irritating. But it wasn't a horrible week. I think I had a couple of each ways too. It's been a little bit of time. I don't remember, but I'm up to like, I think 35 for the year when it comes to each way. So it was a pretty good week. The Koreans sort of made some big news. I mean, I think it was that same week or it was last week where, at the Genesis in Korea where Tom and Ben went out there and did his thing. And then Tom, of course, broke the locker room door. I guess in a fit of frustration. He's become somewhat, I'm going to love him no matter what, right? I mean, I'm Korean, but he's becoming somewhat of a whiny-looking bitch. Not the best look. Now, he's young. He's super young, 20-something years old, early 20s. Hasn't won in a while. It finally got to him. It's actually good seeing him up near the leaderboard. Benny on, freaking driver off the deck from like 265 on 14, hits it to within 15 feet, misses the eagle and makes the birdie. That man, I think, is next year could be his time to get his first win on the PGA Tour. He has 2 wins on the DP World Tour now. His first one was a goddamn BMW champion. Was a BMW, which is their signature event over there, a big boy event. And then he wins this event in front of his home, country, beats fending off, another Tom Kim, who's, I guess not rivals, but they battle week in and week out. And Tom's probably had the best of them so far. But you see Benny going out there and winning that event, which is amazing. And he's won on the Corn Ferry Tour. He's won on the Challenge Tour. It's going to happen, I think, maybe a little bit later than he expected because, Benny's not old, young. He's like in his early 30s. I think it's going to be a big year for Ben when it comes down to it for 2025. But Tom, a little worried about Tom.
He put out a post, Kenny, that said that the door was broken beforehand already and he had to take it off for safety reasons. Now, whether or not he was unhinged or the locker was unhinged, we're not quite sure with that one. But either way, I will believe him until proven otherwise. Guilty until proven innocent, guilty. You know what I'm saying?
In his defense, the Korean PGA is like super strict. Like that one guy, Mayo Kim, didn't he like flick off like a camera or something? He got to spend it for like 2 years. He got to spend it for like 2 years for that shit. Like they don't fuck around. Like it's all about honor and like shit like that. Like that, all that Asian, bullshit that you hear, honor, stuff like that when it comes to like martial arts. Like that shit still like abides in a lot of these Asian countries. Like you can't be fucking shit up. They don't give a fuck who you are, right? Kevin Na sort of blacklisted in Korea because people think that he's too flashy. He's not humble because he went on this one Korean TV show back in the day and showed his house. And his house was baller, right?
Korean cribs?
His house, yeah, basically that's what it was. It was like Korean cribs, and like people didn't like how baller his house was, especially because another thing he did, Kevin Na, was he broke off an engagement. And it was like a big deal. He broke it off like last second. And to do that in Korea is like, especially to like the daughter was like a big name, like socialite, right? And to do that to her, he got a lot of flack for that. And so people like don't like him in Korea, even with all those wins and all that stuff that he's done. On the PGA Tour, people remember, especially the older generations. If you lose that type of respect from them, they're not going to forgive you. So Tom's got to be careful. I guess for the Korean community, at least.
Yeah. So you're saying Kevin Na can't pull the trigger on golf shots or marriages now? Is that?
He married somebody else, and she's, okay. He did a fine job, but but he left the woman at the altar, and it was a pretty big deal. And so that's why his residence is in American. If he played for an international team, he'd play for the USA.
Oh yeah. Okay. Hey, the more you know, folks. This is your Korean culture section of the show. And let's get into some underdogs here. Let's talk about some underdog strategy. Let's talk about Underdog. Show sponsored by Underdog. Use code Mayo for up to $1,000 deposit bonus over there. We have got Underdog Best Ball for PGA, Kenny. And I'm busy working my ass off on a tool and some articles to help you guys get through all this stuff, because it's going to be off-season golf. You're going to be just drafting. You can draft up to 150 lineups out there, $10 a pop. So 50K goes to first. It'll be a fun time. There's some really fun, nuances to all of this, and having to figure out where you want to draft guys is going to be really key. So we'll do that for next week's show. We'll have a big strategy chat about Underdog Best Ball for PGA. But until then, let's chat about some of your final round strategies for Underdog.
Yeah, so I was, I've gone over round one, I guess 2 podcasts ago, round 2 and 3, the last podcast. This one's going to be for the final round for Pick'em. How I usually go about it, it's pretty smart, of course. We're looking for three baggers, right? And we're looking for 2 going one way, like higher, and 1 going lower, basically in the same, or 1 going higher, 1 going lower in the same topic, in the same stat. And then 1 other one, you figure out whichever way you want to go. So when you're looking at that, usually it's birdie or better, or bogey or worse is the ones I'm looking for. And I'm still going to look for that in the final round. Now, one way to look, the first thing I'll look at is final round scoring average, right? I want to see the guys who are up there who score well in the final round throughout the year. I think it's important. It's a different skill. I think that any other round there is. And I think that people that are good at it are usually good at it consistently. People who are bad at it are usually bad at it consistently. So I think that's a really easy way to figure out who you want to target to go higher, who you want to target to go lower, right? So if you got somebody in the lead, let's say, who always does shitty on Sundays, and you look at his recent Sundays and there hasn't been an improvement, and you look at their stats and, maybe they've been strong in something they're normally not strong in, right? And that's what's carrying them to their finish near the top. Well, that's an easy lower for me, right? They're being, the one part of their game that's usually not that great is carrying them, and they're not creating the final round. So that's pretty easy for me to go for a low. So now if you're looking for somebody who's going to go high, the first thing, if it's birdie or better, you got to look for, have they been making a lot of birdies? Are they in the top 10, top 20 of birdies? Or have they just been not making mistakes, of course? So you got to look at their scores and how they've been playing throughout the 3 days previous. And then you look at their final round score. Let's say they're a good final round score. Usually, you got to look recently. Have they been good? If it's yes, similar to what they've been, then this is somebody that I probably want to target. You look at their stats, and they're basically baseline to what they normally play, right? Or let's say they're higher in something they're normally good at, right? Something like that, where you just feel like they're on. Like somebody whose approach play is usually baseline, top 40 in the field, but it's top 10 this week, right? That's something you can play with, then you can go higher for the birdies or better. And that's just some of the stuff that you look for in the final round. I think last week I lost a bunch. I think I only played 3 rounds and I lost them all. So it's been a little bit of a couple of weeks of losing. So you gotta try and come back. I might have hit the first round, actually. I might have hit round 1 with a push. The one I gave out.
Yes.
The one I gave out on X. So actually, I did hit that, but I lost overall for the week. Still, because I one of those 3 pushed, and I only got like half the payout. So, but make sure you go to Underdog Fantasy, use promo code Mayo, get yourself a deposit match up to $1,000. Football's still going. We have the best ball we'll start going over next week. We'll do some live drafts here on the show to go over best ball strategy, all that good stuff. So make sure you stay tuned. Make sure you join Underdog Fans.
Amen, baby. And I shared our top guys for round 4 with producer Mike. Maybe you'll pop them in there for you guys so you can see while we're chatting. Also, I wanted to mention, though, Kenny, when you're playing round 4 stuff as well, a nice way to get inversely correlated is potentially to take a guy that goes out later in the day and take out he's probably going to be playing well. But if everyone's going off one tee, especially in hotter climates, especially at courses that are tricky, the hotter it gets, and if there's a bit of wind, then it just blows that golf course into a crisp. So the guys that go out early get that softer conditions. The heat hasn't dried out the course. The wind hasn't blown the course off. So they should have a chance of making a few more birdies and running up that leaderboard. And then you can try and find a guy maybe that's a little later, that's not playing the greatest, been putting his balls off. And then you kind of just nail him for the other way around, to go lower of birdies.
I think that's something you should just use in every round. Think about in every round as well. Right. Especially when it comes to the second round, because you've seen what the weather wave difference was after round 1. If it's going to be similar weather, then you're going to probably get the same type of results in round 2 when it comes to the wave. So you can use that as a factor into your, higher and lower when it comes to birdies, bogeys, and stuff like that. Underdog Fantasy is the easiest place to play fantasy sports. It's also the fastest growing fantasy app in the industry. I personally like the pick'em games. Pick whether your favorite players will have a higher or lower stat total in this week's game for a chance to win big. Can win up to 100 times your money in a single night. Pick between 2 and 5 players to build a pick'em entry. Can also make rivals picks, which pits 2 players against each other. Now, the reason I like the pick'em games is because of these things called scorchers. There's these little chili peppers next to the golfers' names, and if you click on that, it adds to your multiplier, so you can win even more money. Sign up today with promo code Mayo and get your first deposit doubled up to $100, as well as an instant pick'em special. Must be 18 or over and present in the state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit www.ncpgambling.org.
Amen. Let's go. And before we get out of this little section, I just want to make one quick rant about Bo Hassler, who cost me $450 last week, or at the Zozo. He missed a 4-foot putt for birdie on 17 that would have got me to second place in a showdown. The guy that finished first, I wouldn't have beaten because Jonathan Vegas just went nuts on the back 9. But I would have beaten everyone else that came by me. 4 or 5 other people came by, and Bo Hassler missed a 4-foot birdie putt that would have got him the points I needed to beat all those other guys that snuck by. So I hate that guy. Biokim, Bo Hassler, we'll get
you know what I've been hating here recently? It's been on my mind here recently because I've been noticing that my life is like changed and the way I act has changed. And I'm curious as why I've done it. Like, when did men become like the epitome of evil? Like, I don't understand. Like, I've had to change certain routines in my life to cater to make sure women feel more safe. Like, when did that happen? Like, I'll give you an example.
Yeah,
okay?
let's see what you're talking about.
Things that I started doing here recently in the last 5 to 10 years. Let's say I'm in a parking garage. It's late at night. I hit the elevator. It comes up. It opens. There's just this one woman in the elevator. It's night. It's dark. She's not with anybody. I will let her go up by herself. Right, and so she won't feel threatened by some weird guy coming in and being the only person in the elevator with her at night. Okay, I do that. Other things I do nowadays. So when I go walking, right, lately it's getting darker earlier, right, and so like by the end of my walk, it's getting a little bit dusk, a little bit darker, and so a couple of times I usually take this one route, right, And then both times, the last 2 times I've gone, it's been this woman. She gets in front of me and takes that route seconds before me. And it's in the woods. It's in the back. There's no lighting. It's a trail, but it's like a trail that's not used often. You know what I'm saying? Right?
Sure, like Central Park CSI shit. Where
it's not like that. So instead of following her, which I would be like right behind her or right next to her, doing my walk, we're both walking, both getting exercise. Instead, I take a detour and I have to go and I walk a different route. So I don't feel, so she doesn't have to feel threatened by me. But the thing is, like, I'm not a threatening guy. Like, I'm doing these things because I feel like I have to. Okay. I feel like that's where society is nowadays. Are you in favor of that? Like, I know we don't have any women that listen to the show, but like, I just don't understand. Like, so like I said last week, life is already difficult, and like to try and think of stuff like that and make sure that you put other people in comfortable positions. And I get it, you have to think about other people, but like when does that line stop? Where
I think you're in your head.
Yourself.
I think you're a little in your head about this. Like, just start. Like, you can ask her, like, "Hey, can I get in the elevator? You know, like, is that fine?" Or don't even have to worry about it. Like, it's a fucking elevator. Everyone's going to be in that thing. You gotta be the shining star, Kenny. Mahatma Gandhi said, "Be the change you want to see in the world." Okay. You need to be the guy that gets in the elevator and lets her get out of the elevator feeling comfortable having just done that ride with a man. If you feel like you're behind her, jog around her fat ass and get in front of her. You know what I'm saying? Like,
the reason I'm doing these things is because women have told me that these are situations where they feel uncomfortable.
I don't think you want to feel like a creep anymore, too. I feel like that is like so out there all the time now. Like,
well, like, we've all been creeps. Creeps have been there forever.
Yeah,
like,
for sure. But now
like
with social
shit.
media and like cancel culture, like it's so posted all the time, right? You know, so I feel like it back in the back of your head, it's like, oh, I don't want to be that guy, you know. Where before it was like, oh, no one's gonna see it, you know. So that's my take on it.
That's true too.
I don't know. It just seems like there's so much more that we have to think about nowadays that we really shouldn't have to worry about, especially men. Like, you can't do shit like you used to do anymore. You're going to get in trouble. Like, the way I picked up women in my 20s, I would get sued for sexual harassment. but yes. back then it was cool, right? Yes. Like, back then, that's the way it happened. Like, okay, so I was out a couple weeks ago. And this is not even like a dirty old man technique. This is just regular bar technique. Like, I saw a pretty girl. She was at the bar. So I would glance over and I'd keep glancing, trying to make eye contact. Because, you know, the easiest way to get accepted into a conversation with a woman is she makes eye contact and smiles, right? Like, you catch eyes, you catch a little grin. Okay, you're automatically going over there and you're going to buy her a drink and you're going to sit down and have a conversation. Like, that's like how dates happen before now. Like, now I don't even know, right?
That's Tinder.
But like, so I was tried it with this one girl, and she started giving me dirty looks. I stopped looking, and then later on in the night, you know, she was like, "Why were you looking at me?" I was like, "You're absolutely stunning." I'll be honest, I just wanted to make eye contact with you, so maybe I can come over and buy you a drink. And then she was 100% cool with it then, right? But like, she was like, "Why?" Like, well, I don't understand. Like, you can't look at a girl anymore. Like, she asked me, like, "Why were you staring at me?" She was rude about it.
At a bar.
She was like, "Why were you staring at me earlier?" I was like, you know, so I still wanted. I mean, she was still fine, right? So I still, I didn't want to be a dick. You know, sometimes you could use instances like that to turn a woman into your favor. You know, you take whatever advantages you can in the dating game, especially nowadays. But she was like legit, like upset. You know, you usually do your thing, and like, I don't know. Maybe I'm finally hitting the middle-age wall where like it's just so difficult now with trying to deal with women and everything that you have, the rules and what you're supposed to do and what you can't do. And, I mean, there weren't where you just made shit up back in the day.
Yeah.
Like, whatever. You go out, you get some drinks, right? You get lubed up and you just spout some shit, right? Whatever game you could spend. Like, it just depends on what type of girl you're with, right? And then now I can't deal with any. That's why I just bang strippers. Fuck it. Let me just.
Kenny, what about going out with a buddy? Like, I know it sounds weird, but like, two guys, not as creepy as one guy, but then you got to find two good looking.
I think two guys probably more creepy. I don't know.
I think the wingman game is okay. I think that's like probably one of the best things nowadays. But if two people come up to you, you better run.
You can't go 2-on-1. We're not Lebanese yet. We want to make sure we 2-on-2, 2-on-3. But I don't know, Kenny.
Well, I mean, both you guys are married, so you don't have to deal with. Neither one of you can never speak to a woman ever again and probably be okay with it.
Yes.
Right? I mean, whatever. Okay. You'd probably be okay with it. I'm still single. I'm still, it's not like I want to just bang strippers. Like, I would like a relationship at some point in time, but like, I don't know what to do. Like, I don't know how to
Honestly, it's all online nowadays. Like, that's it. Like,
and I got no online game.
No.
Like, how do you spit game online? Like, okay, if
you got to post that Nacho Libre photo, and then
I can't do that shit. I got a small dick, man. I can't be showing my dick pics around and spreading them out. It ain't gonna catch nobody, right? I mean, like, what can I do online? I have to like make women laugh. Like, I have to be funny.
Like, gotta hit her with the elevator pitch, Kenny.
But I can only do that face to face.
I know.
And
he's not allowed to go in elevators with women anymore. So
you got
and approaching a girl nowadays at like a bar is like weird. Like, it's either like I got to do it for like older women, or if I'm really trying to catch on, it's weird. Like, it's awkward. They don't get my shit.
Are you staring at younger people? This is the thing. This is the whole thing right now. Because
no, I mean, like, when I'm out, it doesn't matter. But I would say the older, the easier.
Yes, because they're on your same wavelength, right?
Yes,
they
I would
grew up
say
in
the
your thing like that. So.
Yeah, they grew up getting their ass grabbed. Like, I think you're good to go there, Kenny. And you're missing out on the chances to like meet these women by letting them just do their thing. You should, if you end up just walking by her, you can say, "How's your day going? How's it go?" Like, just strike up a conversation. You never know if you meet someone in the park. Like, you are not there you walk it, right? She's seen you every day, kind of thing. Like, it's all good.
I get it. It's a numbers game, and I ain't dishing out enough numbers. Basically, is what it comes down to. I get it. All right. Fuck it. I'll just go out there. What if I just not give a fuck anymore? Just not give a fuck. I could go to jail, or it could be a good time. Well, I mean, because I think my problem is I'm trying to tiptoe around and it fucks the whole game up because I don't understand, don't know what. So what I need to do is just go out there and not give a fuck. And if I go to jail, I go to jail.
Maybe you meet your wife in jail, Kenny. You never know. Or your man. Wherever you want to go,
It would not be that. No. I will not be anybody's bitch. But I got to do something. We'll see. Let's move on. Let's go.
We'll see. All right, baby. Let's get back into our kickback golf bets and strategy for this week's show. We've got kickback over my left shoulder, my right shoulder, whichever shoulder it is. We've got the John Daly kickback shirt over there. The cutoff. We got Kenny, who's been rocking the St. JM shirt the whole goddamn time. We were looking fly over in Montreal wearing our cutoffs. It's a good time. Go over to kickbackgolf.com and use code FGD15 for 15% off over there. It helps us. It helps you look good. Maybe Kenny's not rocking enough kickback golf on his walk. Maybe he needs to, be rocking a kickback golf thing in the elevator. Nothing can go wrong. So you got to load up on that. It's Christmas time. It's Thanksgiving time. Go ahead and get yourself a kickback golf merch. Now, there's basketball jerseys, there's baseball jerseys for all your favorite players out there. Go and check it out. It's a good product, and it helps us help you. So we would appreciate that. Use code FGD15. All right, Kenny, I posted something today. Let's start off with the betting segment strategy over here, because I posted on Twitter, I'm going to be doing this every week, where I've been watching some NFL content and people are using charts, and no one in the golf industry is using charts anymore. So we got a chart out here. Okay, I'm going to put it up. We're all going to put it up. Should be on the screen by now. Producer Mike's in his bag. So the first chart you're going to see is strokes gained versus dollars earned in all betting markets. Okay, so on the left-hand side, you got your strokes gained. On the bottom, you've got dollars earned. So what you all guys know about strokes gained. What the dollars earned is, I do things where every tournament I calculate using the guy's odds what you would have to bet to win $100 in each market. The winning market, the top 5 market, top 10, and top 20. So basically, Scotty, you're going to be betting more than $100 sometimes for his top 10 return, but there's other guys that you just bet a few bucks, you win your $100 back there. So what I've done is over this year in 2024, calculated how much these guys have returned in each market. And the first chart over here shows you in this field who's been balling out versus who hasn't. And even though you've been gaining some strokes, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're a profitable bet. Tracking your golf bets is one of the most important ways to be a profitable bettor in the long run. So Max Griesemann, obviously, he's got those 3 top 5s in the last little while. His odds have gone through the roof. If you take a look at what he's been up to, it's good stuff. So we can get to him here in a little bit, but kind of just looking at guys towards the left-hand side of the screen that are probably guys that you don't want to be looking at because there's too much hype and their odds are too short for what they actually get up to on a routinely basis. Now, every now and then a week-by-week situation can be different, but over the 2024 period, these are guys like Bo Hostler, Daniel Berger, Adam Spencer, Cameron Young. These are all dudes that have been gaining strokes on the year. Cameron Young's gaining half a stroke per round, but he's losing you almost $500 across all these different markets if you're trying to win $100 back. So do you have any questions, Kenny, that I might not have covered on this thing?
Yeah. The monetary part. How are you figuring out the money for each and how each one is winning it and each one's losing? Are you putting the same amount on each person every week, or is it to win $100 for where their number is?
Correct. So it's to win $100. I'm not going to...
Okay.
I'm not going to put down $100 on Joseph Bramlett at 11-1 for a top 5. 10.
So it would be $10 you would put on him, whatever it would make to win. Yes. And that's the amount of money they're losing. So that's probably why Cameron Young is, losing money.
Correct, because his odds are so short that when he doesn't cash, you're losing big amounts of money in big goes. Like Max Homer, if he was on this chart, big amounts of money, because his odds are still shorter versus what he's actually playing.
Right. Bo Hostler looks like the one who's lost the most.
Absolutely.
Right? Is that what it looks like? Is that because he plays these weaker field events where he's, up there, on the odds board? It costs a lot to make your bets to make $100 for him for like a top 10, a top 5 even.
Exactly.
And so, so I'd get that. All right.
So let's try and piece it up a bit here. We're going to dive to the guys that have lost and won you the most money in the outright market, the win market. The next screenshot in my thread over there at the Model Maniac on X. You can find it as my pinned tweet. It'll be there for you guys. You can check it out. So we've got 3 winners in this field. Obviously, they're Jonathan Vegas, Austin Eckroat, Patton Kazaya. And those are the 3 guys, as you can see, are just shy of the 100 mark there because that's what they would have won. But they've also had other bets along the way that would have lost them some money too. But now you're seeing everyone else to the top left there. Look at Keith Mitchell. His odds have been perpetually shit, and he's been gaining close to a stroke per round. But yet, here we are in this top left piece over here, and he's just not ever in contention to win these things. And his odds, people just keep wanting to bet him because his strokes gained are so consistent. They're not spiking enough for him to be in these positions to go and win these tournaments. So you can see Wu's outright odds have really, really been high over here, and Wu hasn't obviously cashed them in. Outrights are weird because only one hit typically, gets you all the way to the right-hand side of this chart. It'll make a bit more sense as we get into the top 5 here. But any questions on the outright side of things, Kenny?
No.
All right. It's pretty simple. Outright betting this is what's so difficult about it. Look, like you could have bet all these other guys and then you got just 3 of them in this field. But let's go to the top 5 market here, which I think explains things a bit better. As you can see, Max Griesemann, he's had himself 3 top 2s in the last 5 starts. And his odds were 11-1 at the 3M, 14-1 at the Wyndham, and then 7-1 at the Zozo. And he finished inside the top 5 for all 3 of those rounds or those tournaments. And he's cashing in over $200 now in the top 5 market for sure. But this week, he's plus 350 for a top 5. So I will put out right now that I'll be betting that at plus 350 because this guy's balling out. And I've still got, he's number 1 in my model. So that's how I kind of figure this out. But you got to be careful though, because just because someone's been playing well, you got to keep track of these odds some way and determine, are these odds even worth it anymore? Because by the time you get to that top right piece of this chart, the odds are going to be chopped all the way down, Then you've got guys like Keith Mitchell again, Harris English, Doug Ghim. These are all for top 5 markets. Doug Ghim is just a top 20 guy. If you take a look at his finishing percentages, he's always finishing inside the top 20, but never really inside the top 10 until we got to, TPC Summerlin. So there's guys that have definite pedigrees, and on my show on Tuesday nights, I go through all of this stuff. This chart is just kind of showing you who is, an outlier type of player. So there might be guys that are playing well that still aren't returning money. Look at Tom Hoagie, look at Keith Mitchell, all top 5 markets here that are struggling, We're going to move on to the top 10s here. Next chart, top 10s. There you see Hayden Springer, JJ Spahn, all of a sudden show up. So Hayden Springer's finished inside the top 3 in his last 8 starts 3 times. At 20-1 at the Rocket, 9-1 at the John Deere and the Sanderson Farms. So he's been doing this quite routinely. And in fact, we'll be betting Hayden Springer plus 600 for a top 10. We're not going to bet him top 5 because if you go back and rewind, you won't see him anywhere in the top right part of this quadrant for top 5s, but he finishes inside the top 10 quite comfortably and quite routinely. So he's plus 600 this week. I love that chance. I mean, he's finished 3 out of his last 8 inside the top 10, none of them top 5s. So you're kind of just trying to find these soft spots on these golfers' odds and their profiles to determine where you want to go. JJ Spahn is another guy that I've been betting top 10 quite routinely, and there you see Cameron Young. That's the only market Cameron Young has actually been okay in, is the top 10 market. So it's really interesting to see how all these different guys do their thing. And then once again, we've got Bo Osler all the way to the left-hand side there. I mean, he's lost you $250 in the top 10 market just by having crappy odds. Even though he finishes inside the top 10 every now and then, his odds are so crap that over a long period of time, you're going to be losing all that money. Also want to shout out some guys. Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Go.
The 2 Davids, David Skins and David Lipsky, just 2. There's some guys that just have like really sporadic. Remember, we always say David Skins. He either is finishing inside the top 10, top 20, or he's missing the cut. Remember, we spoke about this a few weeks ago. There he is. He's losing strokes on the year, but he's profitable in the top 10 market because he's so volatile. So you can find golfers like this, David Lipsky, Alejandro Tosti, Carl Yuan has lost almost a stroke per round, and he's won you almost $100 as well. So it's interesting. You can use this chart to identify golfers that are very consistent in some areas or very volatile in other areas. You can find some really big odds and play the numbers game there. So, yeah, what did you want to ask, Kenny?
No, that was pretty impressive stuff. I mean, yeah, no, I'm good. I get it. I mean, you use that and use it with a little bit of look up, like for Hayden Springer in the top 10 market over there. You use that with it doesn't fit the course for the week. And if that's a yes, then that sounds like something that you can auto bet just by using some of these charts that you do have and that you're using. And, this is for a pretty large sample size. It's 2024. So, you screenshot these, put these to memory, steal them from Byron, and use these as part of your betting process when it comes to placements, especially.
Yeah, and I'm just going to finish off with the top 20 chart here as well, because you got Keith Mitchell and Tom Hoagie way the fuck over to the right-hand side. They've won you over $400 each in the top 20 market, but they've lost you money top 10, top 5, and win. So this chart is perfect. Like, if you're seeing guys that are way outliers like that, these are the places to go get them. And Keith Mitchell, Tom Hoagie will be on my top 20 card this week again. The odds are amazing for them. They all plus money in a really weird field. Remember, we've only got 120 people playing this week. So odds will be a bit shorter than normal, and the field has got PGA Champions Tour guys in the field as well. So we've got a really weak-ass field, but I thought just share some fun, interesting stuff about these different golfers, player betting profiles. You can check this out even more in depth on my show on Tuesdays, where I kind of go through all of this stuff. So yeah, and feel free, message me on X if you have any questions about this. Leave a message in the comments. I can kind of help you guys get through this. We're going to try and get everyone getting smarter about golf betting as we go forward here. So let's do it, baby. Kenny, who are you betting this week?
So first off, outrights is what I got. That's how I roll. All of these are going to be with 8 places. I got Lucas Glover at 22-1. Again, good form coming in, has played well at this course in the past, keeping it simple, not thinking too much. His iron game's going to be strong. Your iron's got to be pretty legit here. And sometimes he can peak putting. So we'll go with him at 22-1. This one worries me now after seeing your chart and Harris English, because I do like the place for 8 places. I got him at 28-1 with 8 places this week. Again, a couple of top 10s coming into this event. Top 10 here last year. Also, you don't have to be exceptionally long off the tee to succeed at this course. Last year, we saw bombers and plotters. So that's how we'll go with that. I like Nate Lashley at 40-1 this week. A guy who tends to putt well on past Palom, who makes a good fair amount of birdies. Statistically, he comes in above average in the majority of everything that I'm looking for this week. So I do like Nate. I think his form has been pretty good coming in also. So I'll go ahead and take him. I like Joel Highsmith at 55-1. Again, good form coming in. I think 3 straight top 15s, top 16s maybe. Not, thinking too hard, can make a ton of birdies. I like him at 55-1. And Scott Piercy, 110-1. His iron game's actually been really, really strong. I guess for his last 5-6 events played. I think he had a top 15, top 20 here last year. He's coming off one of his better finishes of the year. It's the fall. I've seen crazier shit happen. I'll take him at 110-1 with 8 places.
Let's go. He's been playing some good stuff off the tee as well, Kenny. And I think this week you're kind of looking for guys that have some specific skill sets. 90% of fairways were hit last year at this golf course. So I've got 2 outrights for you folks over here. Max Griesemann, 28-1 at Bet365 with 3 places. I know you do the 8 places, Kenny, with Max. I got that fat number. I mean, he's 18-1, 16-1 in the normal outright market. Bet365 gives you the 28, and you get the 3 places. We just mentioned Max has finished top 2 in the last 3 of his last 5 starts. So I like that 3-way. We all like a 3-way, but I like it the most with Max Griesemann. So we're going to rock and roll with him over there. And, I mean, he's number 1 in the model. I mean, he's playing great golf. I mean, when you're just finishing that high up the leaderboard all the time, at some point you got to get through there. I love that 28-1. Also, the top 5 bet on him at plus 350, like we mentioned, is a bet that I'll be going to if you can't get a hold of a nice 28-1 over there at Bet365. He's the best golfer in my model by a long way. Then my other guy is going to be Ben Griffin. On FanDuel, there was a without market. I'm getting different. I'm getting weird. I'm trying to break through here. If I've got Max Griesemann in this thing, I want Ben Griffin to potentially finish second to him. So I can potentially 2 outrights this week. And this morning, FanDuel had the same odds in the without market as they did in the normal market. So Ben Griffin was 25-1 over there. Pop that in the
Did they fix
Discord.
This?
I have no idea if they fixed it or not yet, but I've definitely popped it in there. It's a disaster. FanDuel gets a little lazy. So being a good bettor is all about finding sneaky edges, right? So if you're getting the same odds for a guy that's removed 4 of the best players in the field out of that equation, let's go. Maybe he finishes second again and we can win 2 outrights in one go. That'd be fucking sick as shit. So I'm all for this. Give me Ben Griffin at 25, and then I'm still kind of figuring out where I want to go with the rest of the card there. It's probably going to be a few long shots as well, Kenny. So some bets, some other placement bets. I've got myself a Lucas Glover top 20 at plus 110. Lucas Glover, if you go take a look at that top 20 chart, he's probably going to be popping up there. He has been firing on all cylinders in that market. He finishes inside the top 20 about 1 in every 3 starts. So you're going to get some nice odds there. He's playing some good golf right now. And then JJ Spahn, plus 240 for a top 10. He's been popping inside the top 10 quite often. If he finishes inside the top 10, 25% of the time, he only finishes inside the top 5, 7% of the time. So he's way more comfortable just finishing inside the top 10 than top 5 or anything like that. And then another instance where betting is a weird way to go about it is his top 20 percentage is 27%. His top 10 percentage is 25%. So you're going to get your odds cut in half by going from top 10 to top 20. Top 10 right now is plus 240. It's the same exact percentage. Every time he's finishing inside the top 20, he's finishing inside the top 10. So you've got to just pay attention to those kind of things. And instead of betting him top 20, you bet him top 10 because, like we've said, that's how he rolls. You don't want to lose value by going to the top 20 market when you can go to the top 10. So I'll be sharing the rest of my bets on my show tomorrow night, as always, on Back 9 Bets, 7 Eastern. Some more placements over there for you guys and a few more outrights. So that's what we got for Kickback Golf betting segment. Kenny, we got some good bets out there.
Yeah, sounds good. I'm looking forward to this week. I mean, this tournament's sort of a little bit flaky. Let's go over the tournament here a little bit. The PGA Tour heads to Mexico for the Worldwide Technology Championship from El Cardonal Golf Club in Los Cabos, Mexico. This event used to be held in Mayo, but Liv used the course for one of its events. And so I guess the tour's like, fuck no, we're never going to go back there. So El Cardonal was actually designed by Tiger Woods. A little help from Davis Love III. This is a resort course. The same vein as like Vicente Vallarta and Corrales. Easy courses where weather is really the only defense of the course. I look at those two courses, maybe Kapalua, as another comp course for this one this week with the wide greens, the elevation changes, stuff like that. Last year was the first time this event had ever been held here. EVR won at minus 27. 27 under par. There were like 9 golfers, 20 under or better. This is going to be a birdie fest. You had long guys, you had short guys off the tee. It really didn't matter. Iron play, putting. That was about it. EVR caught up, birdied like 7 of the last 9 holes. Made every single putt. You get hot like that, anything can happen on this type of course. Pass Palin putters, maybe something to look at this week because, of course, it is on Pass Palin. Let's go over the entire course. El Cardonal, 7,450 yard, par 72, 4 par 4s, 4 par 3s, 4 par 5s. 3 of the par 5s should be reachable by all. The par 3s aren't overly intimidating. 2 barely reach 200 yards. The par 4 distribution is pretty wide. You got like 2 under 375 yards. You got 1 like between 375 and 425, 5 between 425 and 475, and 2 475 plus. There are like some giant elevation changes. It will make some holes play shorter than the yardage, and some holes play longer. This is a resort course, low scores. What we're going to see, weather dependent, but what I see right now, wind doesn't look that bad. Of course, that could change to Monday, early evening. Make sure you check that weather. That could be something that's super important on a course like this. But, if it's not going to be that windy, or even if it's under 20 miles per hour, like still, it's going to be it's going to be into the 20s, right? If there's less than 10, you're looking mid-20s, high 20s under par for this event. So these events sometimes tough because all it takes is like one guy to get super hot with the putter, and that's like out of nowhere, right? Like hasn't made a cut in forever. Haven't heard of this guy and whatever. But we're going to try and help you with that. Now, off the tee, golfers are going to see some of the widest fairways like you ever seen on tour. Like some are like 70 yards in width. There is no rough. So if golfers miss the fairway, they're going to be dealing with sand dunes and desert shrubbery. If balls land in the shrubs, could be difficult to find, sometimes with the trouble off the fair, sometimes here, even with, I'm sorry, I lost my place. All right. Even with the trouble off the fairways, I do expect the driving accuracy centers to be super high, and I also expect most everyone to be pulling driver out the majority of the time. EVR hit 93% of the fairways last year and was only 25th in driving accuracy for the week. Let me repeat that. 93% of fairways hit by EVR. 25th in driving accuracy for the week. Super easy to hit. Golfers aren't going to get that much roll on the fairways because the grass is past bound. This shouldn't matter too much as long as longer golfers hit good mid irons and shorter hitters hit good long irons. On approach shots, golfers are going to see humongous past bound greens. Some like 8,500 square feet. EVR hit 86% of these greens in regulation last year, 13th in the field. 86% of greens, 13th in the field. I mean, this is a putting competition. This could be it. There is like a little bit of undulation, not much. And some of the greens, and there are some greenside bunkers. If golfers are missing the greens, they don't have a chance. So I wouldn't even look at short game. The greens are going to be slow. Stiff meter rating less than 11 past Ballon greens. This event, putting contest, that's what I see. Or if somebody can hit their proximity super, super close on their approaches to give them a shit ton of birdie chances.
I love it, Kenny. And the thing is, though, like the problem with looking at Kapalua is this field has got nobody that's played at Kapalua. Like that's the thing. It's like so hard to find some comps. So I thought about it some more this morning, and I love TPC Craig Ranch with a Byron Nelson. I think, not as wide fairways, but low scoring, a little bit more longer iron proximities there, lots of green regulations. Congaree Golf Club is one that's from quite a while ago, but if someone played well there, and then the Mexico Open, and then a little sneaky, the Black Desert. If you think about how many fairways were hit at that golf course, lots of shit off the fairways, but you got to hit it so skew to get there, right? Birdie Fest, lots of green regulations at that golf course as well, Kenny. So, and luckily that was happening like just a few weeks ago, so like if someone played well there, they're typically in good form as well. So I would definitely look at some Black Desert Classic, Black Desert, whatever that golf tournament was called. Some guys that played well there. Lucas Glover, Kevin Streelman, Matty Schmidt, Harris English, Joe Highsmith. You got the boys there, Kenny. Joe Highsmith, Harris English, Nick Hardy, Henrik Norlander. He's the Paspalum Prince, by the way. And then, there's a few Ben Griffins, Bo Hostlers also outside the top 10. But definitely the Black Desert, I think, is the way to look. And I've removed around the green completely out of my model. You're going to be hitting so many greens in regulation. If you're chipping, brother, you're going to be chipping home. So early. So yeah, let's hit these DFS strategies and tiers, Kenny, as we go into this week's DFS contests. Who have you got in the 10K range? There's only a few, only two days.
Why don't we go 9K and up? I mean, right, in the 10K, I don't know. I might not play either. I don't know what to do up here. Because Cameron Young is the class of the field. He hasn't played since, I don't know, the end of the FedEx Cup. He's got to be rusty, but, Grayson hasn't played since the end of the FedEx Cup, and he finished second in his first time out a couple of weeks ago. And that's a guy with probably, we don't know the future, but doesn't look like has as much talent as Cameron Young. I'm really interested in the ownership. Like, you would expect Cam Young to be like the highest owned, right? In the field?
I'm liking Max Griesemann this week, and I'm worried about him potentially being the guy. Like everyone's going to potentially be like...
I can't imagine people going to Griesemann. You can get Cameron Young. I know, like maybe I'm mistaken. I don't know. I am not the ownership guru, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens on Wednesday when we look at the ownership projections. I do not know who I'm going to play here. If I was going to pick somebody, I'd pick Grayson just because he has form coming in. There's no rust. Cam Young coming out here. But Cam Young with no win, this could be the type of event where he can easily get his first win. I really do want to see the ownership. I don't know. I could talk myself into playing both of them. If the ownership's right. We'll have to see. I'd like to get your take on him.
I will be playing Max Griesemann if the ownership isn't crazy on him. I won't be playing Cameron Young. I don't think at all. I think he'll be popular-ish. I'll be going elsewhere there. I think Max is my guy in the 10s. I'll be looking at some other guys further down the board to kind of get me where I need to be. in that department there, like a Matty Schmidt at $9,600. Kenny, he's been trending, man, and he's a database nightmare because it's Mateusz and Matthew Fitzpatrick changed his name to Matt. Both the Matts, all the Matts, they just doormats, whatever Matts. But I just need Matty Schmidt to get it done for me at $9,600. He's 8th in my model for upside. I love what he's got going on the moment, yeah. And then I'll rock and roll with some Ben Griffin. He's a terrible, terrible driver of the golf ball. 90% of the fairways were hit at this golf course, Kenny. So that is a Ben Griffin. This is a Ben Griffin golf course for sure. You know, both my outrights will be in my player pool this week. I think Ben Griffin's got some good, you know, attributes to fit this golf course in a nice way. And he's actually been 14th in the comp course model that I ran here too. So he's not too shabby there. I would say Bo Hostler, but fuck that guy. So who's your bets in the nines here?
I got 3 guys in my cash game cornerstones at 9,600 and above. That's how I'm going to go with it. I'm going to go there, go with a $6,900 golfer and a couple of mid 7K guys as my lineup construction. So the first one's going to be Schmidt. Like you said, he's been playing a couple of recent form has been solid. I think he finished. I don't know his finishes yet. I think it might have been top 25, or it could have been a miscut. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not worried. I'm not worried about last year. He's playing excellent golf coming in here. He feels confident. He posted some stuff on Twitter, availing to his confidence. So I'm hoping that just goes through. And of course, he ends up making a shit ton of birdies. Usually he's top 5 in my model in birdies. So I do like him as my first cash game cornerstone. Second one's going to be Lucas Glover, right underneath him at $9,500. Again, a guy who's coming in with a couple of really top finishes, not getting too crazy out there with my picks. This guy's who I think he's at a top 25 here last year, if I'm not mistaken, as well. So I like him next. And then I'm going Harry Hall, just a couple of hundred underneath both of those guys. Again, great form coming in. His numbers are great. Second in birdies or better gained in this field in the last 24 rounds. Tee to green, and putting and his approach game is solid. If you can bring all that together, I think he can easily top 5 or even win this bad boy. So I like him as my third cash game cornerstone. I'm worried about the ownership here at this event. I think what about Doug Kim? I mean, like, the guy's been playing excellent golf. You have to expect that his ownership's going to be super high. I mean, are you going to jump on board chalk Doug Kim? I'm not. No. I can't rely on him if he's going to be 18 to 25% owned. Top 5 highest owned in the field for a guy who has just shown just a little bit of form here recently. But for overall, his career has been way up and down. The thing is, he does have the game to do it. I wouldn't be shocked that if he did it, because this is the time to do it, right? But, against that type of ownership, I'd probably say no.
I think he's a cash game guy, Kenny, for Doug Kim. In his last 7 starts, he's got that second at the Shriners, and his worst finish in the last while is 41st. Or 47, sorry, at the Pro Core. But then his next best finish is 24th. You know what I'm saying? Like, he just lives in that top 30 range right now. Like, for someone that's going to be heavily owned at this price, you got to show me a bit more upside. Like Harry Hall, I love as a pivot over him. Harry's at least flashed inside the top 15 a few more times than Doug. So Doug is more of a cash game safe option, if you're asking me, whereas I'd lean other places, especially with that ownership. So I'm right there with you with Harry Hall and Maverick McNeely at $9,300.
Yeah, Mav's interesting. I'm thinking about, I was hoping he would be a lower owned type play, but we're both talking about him. He did withdraw from an event recently, so you do have to take that risk into account.
The sushi shits, though.
Yeah, we'll see. The thing is, he has, really, he putts really well overall, but he's really good on Paspalum. I think he was a good finish here last year, if I'm not mistaken. Last
year, yeah.
I thought a guy who, who has talent, who can get up there and who's been, he added a really good run towards the end of the summer, if I'm not mistaken. So if he's low owned, I think I'm definitely on board. In the 8K range, I do like Harris English. Again, a top 10 here last year, coming in with a couple of top 6s. He just has that steady type form. You don't have to worry about off the tee. He doesn't really make mistakes, which is a good thing. And, you could see him get hot with that putter pretty often. And the thing is, I think he does well enough to make the cut fairly easy. I think cash game play might be a good idea. I want a little bit more upside with my cash game, but I do like him. And if he catches fire with that putter, he probably has the most wins in this field out of anybody. So he knows how to do it. He was a top, 10 player in the world 3-4 years ago, not too long ago. So I'll go ahead and take that at $8,900. I like the old guys again, where you don't have to worry about the team, where it's a resort type course. Guy who succeeds in Mexico, who's just a cheap skate who I hate, who's a fucking asshole. Yeah, Matt Kuchar down there at $8,500. I would like to play him with a solid iron game. He makes enough birdies. Again, he doesn't make too many mistakes. His iron game has been fire. Again, his putter has always been a strength, especially with that arm lock that he's gone to. So I do like Kuchar. I like Puerto Rico's native son, Rico Juli. Right? I think he's from Puerto Rico, either Puerto Rico or Filipino. So
I think he's Filipino.
Okay, so if I gave him the wrong ethnicity, my bad. But I do like him. Another birdie maker down here. It seems like a very reasonable price for a guy whose form has been very, very strong. Even though he makes a good amount of birdies, not many mistakes. Top 10 in bogey avoidance in this field in the last 24 rounds. So I'd like Rico Juli down here. Patrick Rogers, interesting. Again, another Paspalum type guy who likes to play in Mexico, feels comfortable in these conditions. Someone to think about who's had, a top finish here recently. I think in the last couple of months, if I'm not mistaken, he was up there, at least in the final page of the leaderboard, at least once or twice in the last 10 events he's played. So another guy in that range. Who do you like?
Yeah, I love Patrick Rogers at a golf course like this. I think, what I like to do, Kenny, is, go grab a model and you just filter on all the best ball strikers, and then you find and then you just flip it and find the worst around the green players. Because those guys, their biggest weakness is going to be gone this week. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're going to be chipping 6 times, 10 times this week. And it's going to be with lots of green. You're going to have tons of space to chip around here. So I love EVR. If you think about why he won here last year, he's 47th in this field around the greens. Jonathan Vegas, 98th around the greens. These are all top tier ball strikers who can make a few putts when they're getting hot. So I love looking at guys that are really bad around the green that have some really, really good ball striking metrics that can make some putts. And EVR, I think, people haven't necessarily given him the credit or his ownership's not going to be too crazy. He hasn't been playing the best. So I don't think last year's one win is going to really get him that ramped up. I'll be going back to him for sure. And then I love Matt Kuchar. We've got the 4 par 5s. He dominates those things. He has done that his whole career. I love Matt Kuchar there with you, Kenny, along with Rico Hoey. One guy you didn't mention is Tom Hoagie for me. His ownership came in significantly low at the Zozo again. And he is also one of these guys that absolutely struggles around the green. He can ball strike it to death. We all know this. And I love what Tom Hoagie can get up to when his putter does start rolling. He's been struggling a little bit, but I'll be betting him. I'll be playing him in my player pool. Let's see what he can do for us in a big, big way there. So lots of interesting names to go off here. Those are some of them. In the 7s, like a little Austin Eckroat, Michael Kim action, Kenny. So Michael Kim, right at the Black Desert, right? He came firing up that leaderboard, or was that the Shriners? Which one was it that he did? So it was the Shriners. It was
his last event. It was the Shriners.
Yeah. So he kind of got into the thick of it there at the Black Desert, but, maybe he can continue that good form that he found towards the end of the Shriners going into this week. Some other guys that played quite nicely at the Black Desert. Adam Svensson, if you're looking to go to him, he'll be quite low owned. He hasn't been doing anything very well at all. Maybe he's a guy you can get to. Nico Echeverria is playing again. I'm in. let's go. If he's in this field, this guy's iron play has just been scintillating. He's coming off a win. Maybe that'll keep people off of him. But remember, we've got a week since the win. It hasn't been like he's having to do these media obligations and not get into it this week. I'm about to lose my voice. Go ahead, Kenny. Who's in the sevens?
I mean, the mid is where I like it. I mean, like a little bit of Joe Highsmith. I talked about him already. Again, 3 really, really strong finishes. The stat line looks solid. The iron game, tee to green, makes a ton of birdies. Really good from 150 to 175. You're going to see a good amount of shots from that range. Henrik Norlander, again, a guy who does really strongly on past balance. I think he's top 10, top 15 in strokes gained past balance in their careers in this field. His iron game has been really strong, really, really good from 175 to 200. It's another range that you need to focus on this week. So those are just a couple of guys. I like Justin Suh's a guy whose putter can get hot, whose putter got hot here last year. Carson Young had a few good rounds. Cam Champ, another guy who, again, putts well on past Palom. Yeah. Who these are the type of events that you sort of see Cam Champ doing well at. That's about it for the 7K range.
Yeah, I love the Carson Young thing. Chad Ramey, he's been firing off a few good finishes. $7,300, and he can make putts, baby. So let's see what he's in the mood for. Joseph Bramlett's one of these guys that has got immense power off the tee. He finished 21st at the Black Deserts. I'm kind of just filtering on some guys here that played quite nicely. Alex Smalley as well. If you think about a guy that's just a beast off the tee and with the ball striking over there, and then you get some really shitty around the green play from Smalley, not going to matter this week. So he's like field average around the green. Everything else is inside the top half there. So I'm a big fan of Alex Smalley. And then if you want to throw someone random out there, Kevin Tway, baby, $7,100. He's going to be a leverage play for sure. I don't see people playing the Tway, and we're going to go that way with the Tway. So I'm in at $7,100. In the sixes, I'll kind of just rattle off some Kevin Streelmans, Trey Mulliner. Tyler Duncan is someone that's kind of finding his groove again as well. Played nicely at the Black Desert, like I said. And then kind of similar situation as Joseph Bramlett, Will Gordon, who has not been playing very good golf at all, but played nicely at the Black Desert. So I'm going to be kind of looking for guys that played well at the Black Desert in the 6K, lower 7K range, because that's usually where you go to course history, because these guys are playing like ass anyway. So there's not going to really be much that you can cling on to, apart from potentially just having played an identical course, let's call it. This Black Desert narrative is going to be big time for me, Kenny. Black Desert, Mexico, worldwide technology, yeah. So another 2 names, Carl Yuan and Tom Whitney, $6,400 a piece. If you take a look at what they get up to, they should fare quite nicely with the long irons over at in Mexico this week again. So who you got in sixes?
Scott Pierce is going to end my cash game cornerstones for today at $6,900. His iron game and ball striking has been really, really good. His couple of fall events, and he even dates back to a couple of events during the regular season as well. I think he finished top 16th his last time out at the Shriners, top 25 here last year. I don't mind the old guys at this course as long as they, I think the experience can help. And he's been playing well. His iron game, his ball striking has been solid. So the cash game cornerstones this week, they're going to be Tyus Schmidt at 9,600, Lucas Glover at 9,500, Harry Hall at 9,200, and Scott Piercy at 6,900. Other guys that I do like in the 6K range, Sam Ryder showed a little bit of life last time he was out. He has played well here with a good finish, I think top 15 here last time he played. Wilson Furr, a youngster that's coming up. He's played, I guess he was sort of a darling a couple of times ago. He might have been at the Black Desert. I think he just barely missed the cut. But again, the times he's played on Paspalum, he's actually putted really, really well, like randomly. I think he's only played like 2 events on Paspalum, but he was really, really strong both times he putted on them. Brandon Wu, another guy who a good Paspalum putter. Kelly Craft right above him. Again, You're looking for good past paddle putters, guys who can get hot with that flat stick down here in this 6K range. Ben Taylor, one of the better past paddle putters in the field. Again, he hasn't been playing much, but again, you're grasping at straws at $6,200 this week out here.
You are. I mean, in this field at 60s, it's rough, you know. So
battling 6,300, another guy. I mean, you're looking at putters down here.
Yeah, exactly. You're looking at putters, and Brandon Wu's played very nicely in Mexico before. You know, I think he almost won the Mexico Open back in the day there. So some nice stuff. And your cash game cornerstones, Kenny, leave you with $7,400 for the last two guys. So there's some nice Henrik Norlanders, some Aiden Stringers, some Justin Lowers, you know, some nice names in that range that you can kind of just round that out with if you're in the mood for that stuff. So, yeah, baby, we made it to the end, Kenny. We made it to the end. So don't forget, friends, as your host, please go do me a favor and go support kickbackgolf.com. Use code FGD15, 15% off. Go buy your husband, your wife, your whatever, your child, your kids, the lady in the park, in the elevator, wherever you want. Get that there for him and them. Over there, Kickback Golf. Use code Mayo at Underdog Fantasy because that's, you know, the title sponsor of the show. Use code Mayo, get up to $1,000 back over there. As always, rotoballer.com, where you can find all my stuff over there. Use code Maniac for 10% off. Kenny, what's cooking in your side of the world?
You can find myself. You can find me on Twitter at KendoVT. You can find my article every week on gupscorner.com. Use promo code GUPS. Use promo code Kenny. Save yourself 30% on a sub to Gups Corner. Should be a fun week. Tell us what you think about Byron being the host. Let's win some motherfucking money. DJ Nation.
I've been getting dirty money, Jordan Belfort. Stacking penny stocks while I'm flipping these birds. Sipping on Ciroc, trip 'em up with the words. I done popped the Molly and I think it's be my third. Jordan Belfort.
Let's go. I love it as a sign out there.
So I can't believe I didn't watch Penguin last year. The episode was so good.
I will be watching it tonight. Don't you worry. And then I will subscribe to HBO so that I can watch it on Sunday when it comes out, so we can chat because
we can chat. We'll figure it out. You just have to watch it before it comes on or something. Because what I'm pissed about is I guess that's it. This is the final episode next week.
No, I know
there's no season 2.
No,
but I'm guessing they're going to build the story because this is based on the Batman.
I think they're going to roll it into the movie in one way or another.
Yeah, into the next movie.
Yeah,
and I thought the movie was actually pretty good. I didn't think Robert Pattinson was going to be the right pick, but I mean, I thought he was fine. It was a lot more like Batman in Batman costume than Batman as Bruce Wayne in that movie, I think, than a lot of the other ones.
Darker, much darker.
Darker and
super dark.
Which is how it
so
should
fucking
be,
boring,
man.
if you ask me.
You think it was boring?
I watched it all, but it was like...
I had to watch it again.
I need some Batmobiles and Alfred and, it was just like... I don't know if I remember.
I thought the fight scenes were really, really good. I thought they were brutal. I thought he was whipping that ass.
Yeah.
I liked it.
It was a cinematic masterpiece, so to speak, but I wouldn't say that the entertainment value was like there for me. I
don't really like movies that much. I don't watch too many movies, and I like that.
And I don't remember the Penguin being in. Was he even in it?
Yeah.
Was Colin?
He was. He was.
I'm gonna have to go watch it again.
He was definitely in it. He wasn't that huge of a part in it, but yeah, I like the way it gives like sort of like Tony Soprano vibes, except like you should feel bad for him, and you should also feel like respect for him to like be in the workplace that he's in with the difficulties that he has. And still be able to make it, and still be able to be alive, and still be able to, at least have a good part, in the city before Falcone died in the Batman movie.
Yeah.
And he has like good in it when he talks about like the gangsters he looks up to are the ones that, like, when they died, like, the neighborhood threw a parade for him. Like, he gave them, he gave to the community even though he stole money. How he gets loyalty from his people, like talking about, we're going to do this. You know what I'm saying? How he gives them cash.
Gold
Stuff like that, and talks about loyalty, like that stuff. Like, you root for guys like that, but then the motherfucker just shoots, Falco in the chest,
and he sent Sophia to Arkham for one of the best episodes. Yeah. So, what did you think of episode 4, Kenny? Because
I thought that was good. I thought it was fine.
Yeah,
I thought the last night's episode was better.
Oh, really? Okay.
Because it delves deeper into the Penguin.
Okay.
It shows that his sociopathy is nothing new. I'll just put it. All right. His sociopathy.
Not his first rodeo.
No. Okay. No. And then you realize you're really supposed to just like this guy. Basically, is what yesterday's episode. But then at the end, you're like, you get a little bit of like, maybe. But you got to watch it.
No, I will. And I'll do my best to watch before next week.
Yeah. And so, Mike, you're on the last 2 episodes.
Very last 2.
Lost.
Yep. Very last 2.
Are you extremely confused?
Yeah. I don't know what to think of it. Honestly, I don't really know. Like, to be honest, okay, I know that you're going to say you got to watch it again. And I'm like, oh, all right, whatever. But I feel like I'm just trying to watch this last season to get it over with, because nothing in this current timeline makes any sense, And the fact that they're okay, this was what really irritated my wife and I. They added characters into the last season that nobody gives a fuck about, man. Like, it's like, who are these people? I don't care. Like, you should, on a last season of an iconic show like that show was, it should be tying up all the loose ends and not adding any new narrative. I don't even know what Locke's fucking doppelganger his name is, dude. Like, that's how out of tune I am for this whole season. It's like, I don't even care about it anymore. I just want to end it so I can watch something else. Like, I feel
I hate watching. People did it.
Yeah.
I mean, okay. So it is explained in the final episode, like, what's going on with the alternate stuff.
Okay. Good to know.
The stuff on the island, the characters and stuff like that, I guess he just needed to write them in. But there is a finality to what happens with each individual character.
But that's the thing, though. Like, it shouldn't it shouldn't add new things into it. It should be like it. To be honest, I think that the whole show could have been so much better.
Like, what new things are you talking about?
I'm talking about the Jacob and his brother whole story.
Okay, well, that's not okay. That's like the biggest storyline of the show.
It wasn't that. It wasn't, though. Like, it was the only thing we know is
it is technically.
Yeah.
The biggest storyline of the show.
But it's just
like it's super important.
I guess so, but like the only thing that we knew about was Jacob the whole time.
That's basically the whole backstory.
Yeah.
Like, you have to know, like, why they're doing this, right? Like, what's the point of all of this? Like, why are they on the island? What's the point of the island? What really is the island? That's really the question that you're trying to have answered.
Yeah.
On this show.
Okay.
Right. And that's what Jacob and the dark motherfucker.
See what I mean? You don't even know his name.
There is no name. He doesn't have a name.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay.
He doesn't have a name.
All right.
He doesn't have a name. He doesn't have a name.
Weird as fuck, dude.
And so the smoke monster, basically.
Yes.
That story is showing you why and how the island
became. Okay. All right. Yeah.
Okay. So that's like, so it has to show that stuff.
But yeah, I guess so.
That story it has to.
It should that should have been tied up though in the middle of the last season, and then like I don't know what's gonna happen in these last 2 episodes, but I feel like it shouldn't be carrying on and on and on, Like I just feel like I'm exhausted from this season,
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a battle, It's a battle of good and evil.
I think you know what? I think the whole show, it could have been so much more interesting if Locke just stayed the leader of the others. I think if they would have expanded on that, the whole show would have been so much cooler than adding in weird things. Well,
they had to add in the weird things because it was only supposed to be 3 seasons.
You did say that, and I've been taking that into account.
It was always they were like, we when it first came out, you guys are probably in your teens or younger. It was too young, 2004.
I was too young
when it came out. So you were probably like 12.
Yeah.
And so, it came out in my mid-20s, and it was like a cultural phenomenon.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was the biggest show that, there had ever been on TV.
Yeah.
Like, network TV. Like, it was huge.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was pulling in. It was before streaming. Like, this was Game of Thrones before Game of Thrones. This was 3 times the amount of Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
4 times the amount of Game of Thrones. You know what I'm saying? Like back then.
I don't know how you guys waited a week in between episodes.
It was horrible. It was so bad. And it was like a cultural phenomenon.
Yeah.
And so they were like, we need like 27 seasons of this. ABC. We need as many seasons as possible. And the writers and the producers were like, we got 3 seasons, dog. They're like, make some shit up.
Yeah. I think
that's what they did.
The most memorable part of the whole show to me right now is the hatch. Finding the hatch and the mystery of what it was, And if they could have led that kind of storyline throughout the whole show, I would have loved it even more, because there was so much anticipation and like excitement build up to it that it's like, holy shit, like what's in the fucking hatch, But I've just, ever since then, it's kind of just dipped down for me. So
for a lot of people it has. For a lot of people it did. I think I enjoyed the rewatches a lot, and because it got so tedious trying to keep up with everything, but then having a base knowledge of what had already happened made it a lot simpler the second time. The third time it was even easier.
Sure.
Now I know fucking almost everything that fucking happened on that show if I'm watching it at the time. Now, once I stop watching it and give me a month, I'll forget immediately. That's why it's great losing all these brain cells, because I will forget TV shows in a fucking instant that I have seen 725 times. And I'll be like, oh, shit, I forgot that shit. I've watched this shit like 87 times. I forgot that. I just watched like the 4th time I watched The West Wing. And I just finished that up. It's another good show. My favorite part of Lost is the Jin and Sun storyline. You've never really seen Korean people star on a TV show in America, especially the #1 TV show. And at some points in time, personally, I think their story was the best story of the entire show. And I know it engrossed and captivated a lot of the audience, thought really was invested in Sun and Jin. Probably just as much as Jack and Kate and Sawyer. At some points, like true fans of the show.
Right.
Because their story was so... They to build the love story that they did, they were only together on the island for like a week. Before they separated. Right? Before they separated. They were only together on the island. They had so many issues, right? But like they were able to solve them and get better and like get, and work it out in such a short period of time. Right? Because you saw his story. He had to do what he did. He was a lowly fisherman, dude. Right, and he was a doorman, right? He can't marry somebody like her, who's basically the daughter of like the guy who runs like Hyundai or CJ. Think of the CJ Cup. in golf, right? Like the guy who runs that company, right? Yep. His daughter, right? No, a fucking fisherman's not going to fucking be able to marry him. I mean, unless he does some shit.
Yep.
Unless he does some shit, right?
It's true.
I mean, like, he had to do some shit.
Mm-hmm.
And son didn't fuck with it, but he had to do some shit. There was no other choice. Yep. I'm always on Jin's side on that. And of course, it finally blossoms and they finally reunite. And then
that's what we were waiting for, like over a season, man. I think it was.
You were waiting like 3 seasons.
Was it? Is it that long? Oh my god!
No. I think 5 seasons.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. Till they got
yeah,
because
it was ever since he left on the ship with Michael.
Yeah, with Walt.
Wow, that's
fucking
crazy.
Walt. That was the end of the fucking first season. They didn't get back together till what, season 5?
You didn't think that? Wow, I didn't even think about that.
I mean, it was forever.
And
of course, their death, I think, was the saddest of the entire show.
I think so too.
For them to die together like that, and the way they show with Michael Giacano, I don't know how to pronounce his name, but the guy who does the music for Lost, really, that scene right there and the music, so emotional. The score of that show is so unbelievable.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but I know Byron's got to go.
Yeah.
So I guess that's enough for this week. But yeah, every week, OT with FGD, we don't really announce it. Sometimes we just bullshit about shit, but we do this every week.
Oh yeah, it's the best. I was just working on some shit for the next show. Don't you worry.
Right.
I was getting lost in my own weeds. So, all right, boys.
All right. Well, until next week.
Name of the show.
Oh Jesus, I don't even know. I didn't get one.
Creepy Kenny,
with a K.
Creeping Kenny,
unhinged.
Unhinged. Oh, unhinged. Binged and unhinged.
Binged and unhinged. Okay.
I'm down. I'm high as shit. I can't think right now.
Binged, unhinged, and I'll think of a third one. How about that?
We're binged and unhinged.
Binged and unhinged. Okay.
Yeah, that'll work. Or if you come up with something else, that's fine with me.
Okay. Perfect.
Send me your Venmo or PayPal or whatever, so I can send you that dough.
Gotcha. Okay.
Hey,
$40 is $40, baby.
Fuck yeah.
I didn't even push it.
And we were,
it's
during the fall.
That was like 30% of actually the total gross sales, not 30% of our discount code, too. If you did the calculations correct.
That's nice.
Which is pretty good.
I'll take it.
That's really good.
Well, we need to sell more. If you're still fucking listening, I don't know if you're still recording.
Yeah.
Yeah. Buy some goddamn fucking kickback merchandise, motherfuckers. Buy that shit fucking right now.
All right, boys.
All right. Catch you later.
Right.
See ya.
Bye.